D, welcome to the show, everybody. This is the Farsi Show presented by MyBookie, MyBookie.ag. It's wonderful to have you along for the ride. My name is Mark Farzetta. So yesterday, Lil Toots had her first softball practice. She was 5 years old, play softball. She wasn't too crazy about it being freezing out there, but there's like one thing I hear throughout the fields as you're walking through the fields, you know, and the coaches have the little kids and they're teaching them the fundamentals and all that stuff for the game. And one thing you're hearing is for safety is, you know, hey, if you're going after the ball, call it. I got it. Practice that phrase. I got it. And then I turn on the Phillies game, and there's Johan Rojas right there in the second inning, letting a ball damn near hit him in his big toe. And I'm thinking he should have been at my 5-year-old daughter's softball practice because he would have known to call that ball instead of Edmundo Sosa saying anything. Whether it was you, whether it was I got it, whether it was a lo tengo, whatever it might have been, Johan Rojas should have had that baseball. It also, other than a 5-year-old's practice, it also reminded me of the Unlike Aguilar meme. That was fun for a while, right? That was so utterly infuriating yesterday to watch that ball drop at the feet of Johan Rojas. A guy who I think we can all agree the number one reason he is at all a big leaguer is because of his defense. And I've been somewhat impressed with Johan Rojas up until yesterday, actually up until the moment he let that ball drop. Because in the top of the second inning, there was a quick couple of at-bats there, and then Johan Rojas stepped up. He got down to the count, I think it was 0-2. And then fouled off a couple pitches, worked an 8-pitch count, and then eventually grounded out to short, I believe it was. But I was like, hey, good for him. Good at bat, Johan Rojas. And then he lets that absolute Bush League play happen. There is zero excuse, and even worse, there is zero explanation. Nothing that makes sense. And I'll let you hear from Rob Thompson, what he had to say after the game. I'll talk about what Edmundo Sosa said after the game and what Johan Rojas said after the game. None of it makes sense. And it's funny, I forget what we were talking about where I tried to differentiate between an excuse and an explanation. Like an excuse is just like, well, you know, it happens, blah, blah. It's like, that's not, okay, fine. But an explanation is like, well, legitimately, this is why it happens. Like, oh, I see that. That's why it happened. Okay. There is no explanation that makes this make sense, and there's certainly no excuse. Watching that play unfold yesterday, that if it didn't, I'm watching that ball go off the bat of Austin Riley. I know it's going to be in the gap. Now, I don't think it's going to fall. Johan Rojas is in pursuit of it. Edmundo Sosa is in pursuit of it. When they both held up for a second, I fully expected that ball to drop perfectly in the middle of both of them. It did not. It almost hit Edmundo Sosa. It almost hit Johan Rojas in his big toe. How do you not catch that ball? How do you also realize that Edmundo Sosa is not going to catch that ball? If you're the center fielder in that situation, that's your ball. If you're the center fielder in a situation where Edmundo Sosa or anyone in left field has never played left field before, you got to know that that's your ball. I hate, just kind of saying because this happened, it automatically meant that this happened. Look, there's a lot of reasons the Phillies lost that game yesterday, I feel. But the biggest reason the Phillies lost that game yesterday was because Johan Rojas made that mistake. Everything came spiraling out. Yeah, it's like you're playing the Braves, and I know everyone wants to look at it and go, well, they suck this year. They're 1-8, whatever. That doesn't matter to me. Honestly, the records going into yesterday didn't matter to me whatsoever. The Braves, I think we can all agree, have had a tougher schedule, a much tougher schedule than what the Phillies have had to start things off. Harder to start against the Padres, harder to start against the Dodgers. The Phillies took care of business against the Dodgers. But I had this thought yesterday. The Phillies were a brick wall to the LA Dodgers, winning 2 or 3 in that series when the Dodgers came in, having not lost a game yet. I really hope that they're not a red carpet being rolled out to the Atlanta Braves to turn their season around, because that was the feel of yesterday's game. And hey, it was great to see Kyle Schwarber go out there the next inning, come up with that triple. It was great to see Nick Castellanos come up with hits. 6 hits yesterday between Kyle Schwarber and Nick Castellanos. You love to see it. But The bullpen didn't have it yesterday. Zach Wheeler, let's be real, did not have it yesterday. That was not his best stuff. Hey, look, the first inning, he gives up that what would have been a home run to Marcell Ozuna, but fortunately, Edmundo Sosa, I don't know, a little beginner's luck there in left field, pulls that ball in for being a home run. But he didn't have his best stuff yesterday. A 5 1/3, and he has 104 pitches. That is very unlike Zach Wheeler. 3 walks is very unlike Zach Wheeler. Certainly running out of gas in that 5th inning is very much unlike Zach Wheeler. And then giving up that 3-run home run later in the Rojas Mistake inning, that certainly is not like Zach Wheeler. It was supposed to be Zach Wheeler versus Chris Sale. This is going to be a 2-1 ball game, 1-0 ball game, the Cy Young Award winner and the runner-up. And then, of course, baseball happened, and that's not at all what it was yesterday. But all in all, absolutely infuriating. Let me know the words that came to mind yesterday in the comments there when you saw that ball almost hit Johan Rojas in his big toe. We'll let you hear from Rob Thompson on that. Also, I read this article yesterday by Marcus Hayes on why the Phillies all of a sudden have the best chase rate in baseball. Kevin Long, Phillies hitting coach, credited the robo umpires of spring training. Didn't see that coming. But apparently it really trained the hitters in spring training, which might be one of the reasons why they led the all of spring training in walks, which is nice. But I know that was made a big deal. I didn't make so much a big deal out of that, but apparently it's carrying over to the regular season, which is a great thing. But what's not carrying over to the regular season is robo umpires. One quick thought on that before I get into it a little bit more later in the show. Former umpire Joe West, Cowboy Joe West, did an interview recently where he talked about how the robo-umps are not accurate. What was it, the 93? They're only 93% accurate or something like that. And I'm like, that sounds pretty damn good to me. And here's what's more important to me than just overall accuracy. Consistency. Now, 100% accuracy would be great, even for the umpires, even for the ABS system. But on the other side of that is players all their careers for all time have looked at balls and strikes as if they are rather inconsistent. They're used to adjusting to an umpire's strike zone, whether that be the umpire throughout one game, whether that be the umpire in the first inning, what's a ball is a strike later, getting used to that, adjusting to that, or just an umpire's tendencies. They're used to dialing in on things like that. So if the ABS system is at least consistent more often than an actual umpire calling balls and strikes, well, then perhaps you should go to the technology. I would love to see that. There's some other numbers we'll throw out there a little bit later in the show, but one quick thought on that. But if that's leading to the Phillies having a much better chase rate, actually the best in baseball going into the series against the Braves, that's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. That's a huge leap forward from what we saw last year and years prior, obviously, as well. I've been following this story. You guys know I have, and I think this is happening. I think Justin Simmons is going to be a Philadelphia Eagle. I think Dallas Goedert has now played his last game as an Eagle, and I think Justin Simmons is going to be an Eagle before the season starts. Yesterday, or 2 days ago now, he was on Up and Adams with Kay Adams, and he was asked about Vic Fangio and what it would be like to go back and team up with Vic Fangio again. And like this guy, he sounds like he has already signed a deal with the Eagles, and maybe he's just waiting for. All right, well, maybe somebody else comes in here and gets me something better. I don't know, but it seems like there have been conversations already, and these two are going to be together eventually. Like how it feels like. I feel like I'm in high school, and your one buddy is dating that girl, and you're like, why isn't he telling me he's dating that girl? I know he's dating that girl. He's just not. Why is he being coy about this? Listening to Justin Simmons talk at 2 different occasions this offseason, he is talking, how great it would be to work with Vic Fangio again. Literally said in the interview yesterday, hey, look, I know what to expect from Vic Fangio, and they know what to expect from me, and obviously I know the system, so we'll see what happens. And it's like, dude, you already have his toothbrush. You already have your toothbrush at their apartment. I know what's happening. Anyway, it's going to happen. I'm now convinced more than ever it's going to happen. On the negative side of things, Dallas Goedert done as an Eagle. On the positive side of things, they're going to add to their secondary with a guy that absolutely knows the system and has had great success in the system as well. So I look for that. And it would be the first big acquisition as far as a guy that, can stay healthy, as far as a guy that, can produce. Be the first big acquisition on the defensive side of things and go, oh, maybe a bit of an upgrade at a position. And it also wouldn't be a guy that you're buying low on. They'd be like, oh, no, proven commodity? Yeah, sure, come on down. Leader in the secondary? Fantastic. Also, on that same note, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, I didn't see him get into specifics, but he went on about how people showed their true colors after he was traded. First person I thought of was Darius Slay, but that all went down after or before he was traded. I still think Slay knew something. So, yeah, we got all that to get into today. Let's jump into it. First and foremost, let's hear from Rob Thompson yesterday addressing the media after Johan Rojas' mistake and what went wrong between him and Edmundo Sosa.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, there was miscommunication, but Rojas is the captain out there, and he's got to take charge. He's got priority, and so we talked to him about it. Especially, guys playing left field for the first time in his life.
Was Sosa calling it? Is that what the mistake?
Actually, he was saying you, which you shouldn't say anything. So there was a little bit of both, but yeah, it's Rojas' fault.
How much do you think did that play change the game?
I don't know. I mean, maybe he doesn't give up any runs. I don't know. Maybe the same thing happens.
Sure.
They score. Because I thought Wills wasn't quite as sharp as he normally is.
I agree with that. Wheels, he wasn't. I mean, you get through 104 pitches in just 5 1/3. Not great. 3 walks, not great. Not very Zach Wheeler-like, unfortunately. But you look at the way this game was going. First and foremost, the Phillies were able to get a 1-0 lead in the first inning, something they've been able to do a couple of times now in the last couple of games. Nick Castellanos came up with the RBI single. Great to see that. You had a first and third with 2-out situation in that first inning. Castellanos came up in the clutch off of Chris Sale, which was awesome. Then you also have in the bottom of the first inning, you have Ozuna hit that deep fly ball to left field, one that Wheeler just left up a little bit, and Edmundo Sosa made the great play to keep it 1-0 in favor of the Phillies. Second inning, the Phillies don't get anything going with the bats, and then in the bottom of the second inning, Olsen grounds out on a great play by Wheeler to start off that inning. So you got 1 out. Then Austin Riley steps up and just hits a fly ball, a routine fly ball to left center field. I don't care if Edmundo Sosa is saying exactly what Rob Thompson said. And after the game, Sosa said that he was trying to call it, saying it was your ball, your ball, your ball. The fans were loud. That led to the confusion and all that. Johan Rojas has to realize that ball is hit right at him. The guy next to him doesn't know what he's doing. You got to make that catch. It literally landed at his feet. Was he trying to make a point? And then he's having a conversation with Rojas, with Sosa, and Sosa, you can see in the outfield still, was just like, oh, that's what I should do. And it was like, no. No, you should have done nothing. Do nothing different. I don't care how much that guy is talking in left field. You're the center fielder. You go over there and you make the play. Rojas said as much after the game, said no excuses, to his credit, said no excuses. I got to make that play. The fact that then after the break, after they finally get out of that inning, which was right after that, De La Cruz strikes out on a sinker away, looking at a sinker away. Nice pitch there by Zach Wheeler. Then Kelnick steps up there. He works a walk, 8-pitch walk. He was a thorn in the side of Zach Wheeler all night. Really, Phillies pitching all night. Then Sean Murphy stepped up there and hit the 3-run home run on a hanging sweeper that he just belted to left field. Then all of a sudden it's 3-1. But after that, they go into the dugout. The camera catches Rojas and Sosa talking. And then the camera catches Rojas and it looked like Rob Thompson talking. And it's like, what is to be said? What is the only thing I want to see from Johan Rojas in this is not like giving Edmundo Sosa a teaching moment. I don't want to see that. I just want to see him. I want to read his lips to say, oh, my bad. My fault. That's on me. Perhaps even a lo siento for those that don't habla español. I'm sorry. That's all. That was on Rojas. End of discussion. So then the game, fortunately, Kyle Schwarber picks up the team with his 2-run triple in the third inning. Now it's a 3-3 game. Castellanos gets another RBI on a double in left center field gap. Love to see that. All of a sudden, it's 4-3 Phillies. Things are looking good. Later in the inning, or later in the game, Kyle Schwarber steps up there. He had a 444-foot home run against the Dodgers. This one was a 462-foot home run to right field that he just belted. Got a fastball a little down in the zone, and he took care of it, made it a 5-3 game. And still, I just had this awful feeling that the Phillies were just going to have to keep adding on. Now, after Kyle Schwarber's home run, Nick Castellanos got a double. They take Sale out of the game. They bring in Eniel De Los Santos. Realmuto works a walk, and then that was pretty much it. When it came to base runners for the Phillies, the Kyle Schwarber worked a walk in the 7th inning, but Phillies really had nothing going after that. Harper worked a walk in the 9th inning. But they got nothing after that. 2 base runners after the 5th inning is all the Phillies got in a very close ball game. I'm not one to say everything, if this happens and this is going to happen later in the game, but you can't tell me that Rojas's miscue did not have a domino effect throughout the game, especially when it came to Zach Wheeler losing it, because the bullpen being bad in yesterday's game only expedited the process of the bullpen coming in. If you just do the math, it was 13 more pitches for Zach Wheeler after the miscue by Rojas. But still, he struggles against Kelenic. Kelenic has a great at-bat against him, and then he hangs that sweeper to Sean Murphy that he belted out of the park. Then later in the game, in that 6th inning, when he's struggling, he started that inning at 81 pitches. He's facing Austin Riley again. He gets him a strikeout on a splitter. Then he gives up the single to De La Cruz. Kelenic works another single at bat off him. He had him down in the count 0-2 and lost him. Then Murphy comes up against the RBI single to left field. Arcia walks. 3-2 count, had him 1-2, and he lost him in that. All the while, Wheeler's velo is dropping in the game, so he has a bases loaded, 1-out situation. Wheeler goes out. Strom comes in, gives up the sac fly RBI to Michael Harris. 1-pitch fastball. Harris jumped on it. Brought in the game-tying run. Then he gets Albies to strike out on a fastball. Got lucky in that at-bat. Speaking of inconsistent strike calls, got lucky in that at-bat. We got a ball that was actually high in the zone, even for Sherwater's strike zone yesterday, and it was called a strike, but got out of it by striking him out, but it was still 5-5. Then Kirkering comes in. He struggles in his outing. Tanner Banks struggles. You had bad pitching yesterday. You had worse defense yesterday. You had wild pitches yesterday. And then offense practically disappears after the 5th inning. So, again, I hope that this game isn't the shot in the arm that the Atlanta Braves needed. Because if you were looking at the records and thinking, the Braves, they suck this year. No, they lost games, more than the Phillies, certainly, to start the season. But I don't understand anyone that wants to get in on this team sucks in April. This team's going to win the World Series in April. Like, people accuse me, especially during the postcast nowadays, and even last year, of overreacting to games. I think an overreaction is looking at this game yesterday and saying, well, now the Braves are going to win the division. Like, that's an overreaction. And I have learned that the way you start does not dictate how you finish. And ultimately what matters more than anything is how you finish. And last year was a perfect example of that for the Phillies, and I'm going to go back to that so many different times because I do believe the Phillies have great baseball in them. They have phenomenal baseball in them. But the idea of letting a guy that's fighting to be a starter in center field for the Phils, the fact that he just let that ball drop yesterday is inexcusable. And whether it's Bryson Stott breaking off first base in a steal situation or 1st and 3rd, like they did against the Dodgers in the 2nd game of that series, or it's a ball just falling just dropping in front of your center fielder like that. Those are just inexcusable things that any, again, 5-year-old who's just picking up a mitt for the first time knows that they have to have communication and they have to be smart. And I didn't see that yesterday from the Phillies. And what really sucks is you had Kyle Schwarber, who actually was a double short of the cycle yesterday. He had a triple, man. There was the trivia question yesterday during the game. What Philly has made reach base every time or every game this season? Kyle Schwarber. Usually, it's got to be Kyle Schwarber, right? There's somebody you just don't think about. No, it's Kyle Schwarber. And then I've referenced this a couple times, and it's Nick Castellanos, and it really jumped out to me. It jumped out to me in the Dodgers series. And his at bat in the Dodgers series before the Grand Slam, something just looked different. It looked like Castellanos was keeping his hands in more than he ever has, which I guess is a little bit of an adjustment for him. But then Ben Davis said it yesterday during the broadcast, and it really made sense to me. He's swinging like Kyle Schwarber now. You're not seeing that big, looping one-hand swing through the strike zone where he has that, near, not to compare to Pat Burrell again, but he has that near, Pat Burrell, almost pose, like when he swings through a fastball. Swinging with two hands on the bat, keeping two hands on the bat, and having a two-hand finish. He's doing that more this year. And I don't know if that's leading to more success. He seems to have a similar approach where he's not, jumping on as many first pitches, but it seems to be working well for him. Offensively speaking, yesterday, to stay with that, on the downside of things, a little bit of false hope from Alec Boehm. Now, Alec Boehm has become almost a Reese Hoskins figure, where he has become this lightning rod. And I'm not a body language expert by any means, but I certainly want a player to be pissed off when he doesn't perform well. I don't want him to act like he doesn't care, all right? I hate that. That drives me bonkers. So yesterday, Alec Boehm steps up to the plate, first inning. He gets a single and a changeup. Fine, gets a hit. Good for him. Later in the game, he flies out to center field, jumps on a first pitch. I think it was a slider. The thing that drives me crazy is if you're going to guess so often. Oh, and that first at bat, he took the first two pitches of the at bat in his first plate appearance in the game. Then in the third inning, comes back up to the plate, jumps on a first pitch. I guess he's thinking fastball. He gets a slider. He ends up flying out to left field. Comes up to the plate again in the fifth inning, gets a 2-2 slider that was called a ball. It was a strike, so it went against him. He strikes out. Or should be the pitch that was the second strike that made it 2-2. He got lucky there. Then he chases ball 4 out of the zone. Ends up working a full count. Chases ball 4 out of the zone. It was a fastball away that he just flailed away at. Hate to see that for him. Then he does it again. He gets a 1-2 changeup that he chased and grounded out on a comebacker. Who was pitching at that time? Dylan Lee was pitching at that time. He's facing a left-handed pitcher, and he just hits a little dribbler jumping on a first pitch. Jumping on a changeup out of the strike zone. You're helping him out. You don't need to do that. At that point in the game, it was still tied 5-5. You want to get something going. Nothing was going. He walks Schwarber after that, and then Castellanos lines out to center field. Not a great day for Alec Boehm. And then in the ninth inning, records the last out, again, trying to jump on a first pitch. I know he's better than what we're seeing. And I don't always fault the guys for jumping on first pitches. But if you're struggling, like Alec Boehm has struggled jumping on those first pitches, work a count. He's a good enough hitter where he can foul some pitches away. And ultimately, I think what really drives people crazy about swinging at a first pitch is it kills the suspense. Especially if you have first and third, nobody out, first and third, 2 outs, whatever. It kills the suspense. And also, you're giving the pitcher – we learned yesterday for the Phillies, hey, you're giving the pitcher an opportunity to throw a wild pitch. The more pitches you make him throw. Not that it's anybody's strategy. But it's just really frustrating to watch Alec Boehm do that time and time again. Now, Phillies and Braves are going to be back at it today again, 7:15 tonight. I'll have you for your postcast on Locked On Phillies YouTube channel. A lot of support for that channel recently, so appreciate you guys jumping on board with that. Connor Thomas doing a great job with your Locked On Daily Phillies postcast, Phillies podcast. I like to say I'm doing an adequate job doing your Locked On Phillies postcast after each and every game. But tonight it'll be Taijuan Walker against Grant Holmes to start things off for the Braves. So here's hoping that Taijuan Walker has another 6 scoreless innings performance, huh? Nice turnaround comeback player. Taijuan Walker, let's make that happen. Again, that goes down 7:15 tonight. Before yesterday's game, I saw this article by Marcus Hayes on Inquirer.com, and it was crediting the robo umpires during spring training for the Phillies all of a sudden an abrupt turnaround in their approach to the plate, not including Alec Bohm, where they're not chasing as many balls out of the strike zone. So I was reading the article, and I didn't realize this. Coming out of spring training, players that challenged pitches won 52% of the time. So half the time, the players were. That seems like a ginormous win for the ABS robo-ump system. If half the time the umpires are getting it wrong, 52.2% of the time they're getting it wrong, I think you should kind of embrace this technology. And here's the thing. Not all players took this serious. So imagine this could be even more, where maybe 60% of the time, if they were being real, they would win. And the point, the thing I bring up is Trey Turner himself in spring training challenged a pitch just to get under the skin of his former teammate in Max Scherzer. Let's not forget about that. So I don't think too many players were taking it seriously. If they had the opportunity to kind of, break stones of a former a teammate on the mound, they would do it. But if they did during the regular season, that number would be even higher. So I keep on looking at this and thinking, what are we waiting for here? Are we still waiting for the human error crowd, to come around and be like, all right, human error shouldn't be a part of the game as much as this. You know what human error is part of the game? Johan Rojas not catching a ball in center field. That's about as much human error as I can stand. I don't want human error where I don't need it or have to have it. And I don't have to have it behind the plate with balls and strikes anymore. And I feel like I've been saying this for the last 5 years, but the most infuriating thing in baseball is that we literally have the strike zone right there outlined, white chalk, digital white chalk, right there. And we're like, oh, that pitch is a ball. Oh, we called it a strike. Oh, well, he's wrong, but let's go on with life. What are we doing? Absolutely bananas. Absolutely bananas. So anyway, goes on to talk about how the strike zone really helped the batters in the Phillies lineup not feel like they have to chase pitchers out of the zone because, as the article points out, Trey Turner and Nick Castellanos both have the mindset of, I don't want to leave it up to the umpire, so I'm gonna swing at that pitch. I'm gonna try to foul that away. And if it's only a 1-1 count, you want to foul that away, well, then you're just giving yourself another strike where it's only because you don't trust the umpire to make the right call. So even if the ABS system isn't 100% accurate, is it more consistent than a Major League umpire? Is it more consistent? No, we should probably use it. So, anyway, they're not. At least not yet. So I'll look forward to seeing how that all goes down tomorrow. Tomorrow, next year, the year after, whenever it gets revisited by Major League Baseball. That's what we'll look at. Excuse me. So Justin Simmons at it again. And what I really found hilarious, because this came up in my feed from Kay Adams. Kay Adams literally put it out there on her own social media account. Justin Simmons to Philly? Fangio, let's make it happen. Fly Eagle. She dropped a Fly Eagles fly. When a player is speaking so openly about the potential of joining a team and how great it would be to join a team and how great it would be to join up with a coach that you had so much success with in Denver, is this the worst kept secret in the NFL now? I can't say that Dallas Goedert leaving the Eagles eventually is a secret. I think everyone knows he's on the trade block. I know Adam Schefter recently said that he guarantees Howie Roseman is going to make a trade or two during the draft. That's no surprise whatsoever. Howie's always wheeling and dealing, moving up, moving back, getting picks, losing picks. Got enough picks to lose. He can spare a couple in the next 2 years. But when it comes to Justin Simmons, this is an open secret now. Everyone knows. The least shocking thing to me is when July rolls around and the Philadelphia Eagles all of a sudden have a new safety. We've talked about pinching pennies. The Eagles in the offseason gave Saquon Barkley more guaranteed money, but ultimately saved more money this year. The Eagles adjust money with Lane Johnson, giving him a contract extension and a raise, still somehow saving money. The Eagles let a lot of players walk that helped them in a tremendous way to win a Super Bowl. Milton Williams, Josh Sweat, and they have signed everybody to 1 year Zach Bond deals, 1 year Mekhi Becton deals. But just keep it on the defensive side of things. They've saved a lot of money. Now, is this all for the eventual long-term signing of Jalen Carter? Or is this for right now? That's the big question. And I think there's enough money there, especially with the creativity of Howie Roseman, and still not knowing what the next move could be. See, when people talk about the cap, I always remind them of this. Yeah, that might be what the cap is right now, but who else is going to get reworked? Who else is going to get released? What else? What's the next deal Howie Roseman's going to make? Because you don't know. So if Justin Simmons is coming to Philadelphia, there's probably going to be a little bit more finagling amongst the Eagles roster, no doubt. But this seems to be damn near inevitable. It's not Justin Simmons coming up being like, oh, yeah, a lot of teams I hear are interested. It's very flattering. But, it's Vic Fangio and I are besties. I'd love to play for Vic Fangio again. I know his system. He knows me. He knows what he's getting from me. This just seems like the worst kept secret in the NFL right now. It's almost like the tush push getting banned is the second worst secret in the NFL right now. How Vic Fangio feels about it? Just cooking up the meatballs, baby. Just cooking up the meatballs. Vic Fangio, if he doesn't get Justin Simmons, thank you. That's where I'm at right now as far as all that is concerned with Justin Simmons. Again, another interview. Worst kept secret in the NFL. Justin Simmons, an Eagle. Book it. Hey, let me tell you about the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code Farzy, and get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. It's not just for games, concerts, comedy shows, whatever it might be, Game Time app has you covered. And don't forget, you can view your seat before you buy it, so you take the guesswork out of buying tickets. And you can also use the Game Time Picks feature on the Game Time app, which literally filters out all the fluff, so you get right down to it. The best seats at the best prices on the Game Time app. Saves you time from scrolling through literally thousands of tickets to see the best seats for the best prices on the Game Time app. So download the app, create an account, use promo code Farzy, and get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. How about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs? That's PHLSportsNation.com. Let's get into the chat check and see how wonderful people are doing on this fine Wednesday morning already. Goodness gracious. This week's flying by. And cold. By the way, that's another thing that softball yesterday. I felt so bad for these girls because there's like, for all of them, for the most best majority, this is their first time ever playing softball, and they're out in the cold, just standing there. Wasn't great. I will say this, Lil Toots, 3 for 3. 3 for 3. We got to work on plate discipline. Her chase rate is just off the charts. But it was awesome. Jeremy, what's going on, Jeremy? Jeremy joined me on postcasting right here as well. Thank you, Jeremy. Good morning, everybody. Center field has been an issue for years since Shane Victorino left. I wish Trey Turner would go back there. He was a stud when he first came up with Washington. Sosa and or Stott are better defensively. I would love to see Trey Turner go back to center field. But I also say this. Trey Turner, knock on wood, Trey Turner has been great at shortstop this year. Like he's been last night. There was a 5-6-5. No, excuse me, Jesus, Mary Joseph. 5-6-5 putout that started with a ball bouncing off the mid of Alec Boehm. Trey Turner puts himself in position to get it. Fires to Alec Boehm, who's now covering third. Alec Boehm on this play ran like a stick nod route to get back to third base. And I forget who they tagged down at third. But it was a great play by Turner to stay with it and get it to Boehm, compose himself. Trey Turner's been great. I like him at shortstop, but I'd love him to solve the Phillies center field issue. and perhaps move Stott to short and Edmundo Sosa to second. I think that would be the way to do it. Trey would never agree to it, but I agree, Jeremy. He would. It's not happening. But you and I can dream. You and I can dream. Why not? Good morning, Farzy. Friend. Way too early today. I know, right? Only a half hour late today. Jeremy, I couldn't sleep after that debacle. I believe I just woke up. I believe we just woke up the Braves. I hope not. April. Good morning. Rojas 4 for 6 going into the game. Covers a lot of ground, stealing bases. Certainly an asset for the team. Fair enough, Jeremy. Yeah. Sean Kilrain. What's going on? This was the hardest hit ball ever by a left-handed hitter off Chris Sale. Really? The previous hardest was hit by Kyle Schwarber on the 31st. 114 miles per hour. Yeah, the velo yesterday was bonkers. The next hardest hit ball was only 108 by Kevin Kyle. Really? Kiermaier? Really? Daz! What's up, Daz? Good morning. Jeremy's lady friend, who's a nice lady that I went to high school with, a friend of mine, says he was looking at her. She was looking at him crazy. Calm down. Rage mode. Yep, I think we're drafting a cornerback. I don't think in the first round, I still think they're going defensive tackle. I think that's going to be their priority. Jeremy's with me. Eagles are signing Simmons post-draft. I agree. Dad, Sale got lit up as well. Yeah, that was just, it's crazy. Sale gave up 5 runs, charged for 5 runs. Wheeler was charged for 5 runs. You have the Cy Young Award winner. You have the runner-up facing off against each other, and it's an offensive battle. James Jones, my Braves show up last night. Something don't want? What? So you're a Braves fan, eh? The fact that Schwarber got a triple when he almost ran as slow as Cassidy is impressive. I was wondering about that. I was like, he's going to get at least a third on this, right? I also, speaking of Castellanos, I don't know what it is. The only thing I can think of that makes sense, here's my thought. Nick Castellanos looks faster this year. Like yesterday, he had a stand-up double, okay? I don't know if it's just me in my brain comparing him to Nick Castellanos, who already has played, 140 games with, 22 games left last year, or if it literally is him working on his running in the offseason, which guys have done. I don't think he's slimmed down. He never looked like he needed to slim down. I don't know what it is, but he just looks faster this year. Kyle Schwarber, maybe look faster as well. I don't know. But how about that triple? It does, Farzy. It kills the suspense. We're talking about swinging at the first pitch? Yes, it absolutely does. Jerry Schreiber on the RoboLoves. Human error is having the technology and not using it. Justin Simmons will be an Eagle after the draft. Mark my words, Farzy. There we go. See what we're doing here? We're willing it into existence. Winehouse Wine. Cue up Sirianni. That's pretty dope. No Sixers, no Flyers talk. Hold on. I got you.
Well, that's pretty dope.
You know what? It was also funny. Johan Rojas after the game on his miscue.
Take away the scoreboard.
You just take away the scoreboard. The miscue doesn't affect it as much. You know what I'm saying? All right. T-Bro. What's going on, T-Bro? Sosa's snag was crazy. Then Rojas needs to know he's the freaking general in the outfield. That damn ball literally dropped on his foot. I don't know. I wish I was doing. I know it's popular. A lot of social media people, they have they're just filming their reactions to stuff, allegedly. So Lil Toots is sitting on the sofa in the next room on her iPad, now a seasoned veteran of the softball world. and that ball drops. And I'm not afraid to admit it. I let out a Jesus, one of those like real, a lot of stank on it, And she goes, "What, Daddy?" And I go, "You know what you just learned in softball today? The Phillies just messed that up." I couldn't believe it. Literally watching that play, I see Sosa look over to Rojas, and I go, "Oh no." And I am just waiting for that ball to drop in between them. And when it dropped at the feet of Johan Rojas, almost directly hitting him in the big toe, I just went, "You got to be kidding me." Well, I said, "Geez," and then I said, "You got to be kidding me." It literally reminded me of we was catching him, unlike Aguilar. And Nelson Aguilar had a specific play that happened in Dallas. And I remember it was all the rage in, I think it was 2018, the year after the Super Bowl. And people were like, was it in his reach? Was it out of his reach? And then you had to wait like 2 days for the game film to come out. And the game film came out, and I watched it, and I went, "Oh, my God." That literally landed right at his foot. Like, obviously within range of him to stick his hands out and catch a football. That was the last time I watched a play like that unfold. And then Johan Rojas had to remind me of it yesterday. Oh, April, NC, with North Carolina weather has been off the chain too. Almost 90 over the weekend. It's 50 right now. Yeah, it's crazy right now. I saw the Live-Villa Orchards. You guys know Live-Villa Orchards? The nice, fall place to take kids to and all that stuff. You can sling apples. You know what I mean? They literally were lighting fires around their peach trees to make sure the frost didn't get to them. Never saw that before, but there you go. Below freezing last couple of days here. Even had hail. You had hail on Monday. Why not as well, dude? James Jones. Who's a fraud? Rojas. Sean Cohen, Mike Green, edge rusher Marshall. Edge will be on the Eagles. All right. Take Mike Green. T-Bro, you are bringing it back, brother. Talking about Jake Arrieta. Cassiano's pants are too loose. They drag him down. He needs the size between his and Captain Tight Pants. Everybody talking about my... All right, anyway. Wow, that's a blast from the past, T-Bro. Good hustle to you. That one would always crack up Trey. I always enjoyed cracking up Trey with that one. Ken Todd, good morning, brother. Good morning, Ken. Good morning. Philly Magic 365, good morning. Mr. Farzi, thank you. One play losing a game makes me sick. So, again, the offense disappeared after the fifth inning. The bullpen was not good. Kirkering. Like, Brandon Marsh gave up a sac fly. Or Brandon Marsh. Sorry. Wrong long-haired hippie. Right. No, God, come on. Brandon Marsh gave up, I said it again. Matt Strahm gave up a sac fly at RBI. What am I going to be mad at him for that? Tanner Banks, wild pitch, run scores. Ryan Kirkering. Like the bullpen gave up 3 hits, 3 walks, 2 runs, a wild pitch, 2 wild pitches. No bueno. No bueno. But of all those things, the wheels were set in motion by a fly ball hit to your center fielder. Which, by the way, you know what? I was so enraged, I was trying to justify anything. And I had the thought, I was like, is Rojas hazing in Mundo Sosa? Like, what's going on? Is he hazing the new guy? Trying to make it look like it was his fault? And again, if you're just joining us, Rojas said after the game that it was on him, no excuses. Looks like the same to me, unfortunately. I know the chasing is better, but it feels like the same. Look, here's the deal when it comes to this Phillies team, and I'll say this throughout the season. This is not like people are like, oh, you're getting too high and low in these moments. This isn't. I'm not watching like a new Phillies team. I'm in the. This is what the 4th act of this Phillies team. I'm watching the same play. I'm watching the same movie. Most of the same actors here. Most of the same cast of characters. I can be frustrated if they're chasing pitches out of the zone, which still happens. The one that really gets me is not just pitches out of the zone, but bouncing balls in the dirt and still offer it out. Joe Matty, it would be funny if the ball fell on his head. No, because then it would be then it would ricochet around. That didn't matter. The runs were scored anyway. Oh, James showed Richmond, Virginia, 20 to 30 degrees. That's not good. April, you sound like Nona rolling through all the grandkids' names, right? That's great. I didn't mean to put that fraud far as it was supposed to be in a text message. My bad. What? Okay. No worries. Thanks everybody in the chat. You guys are great, as per usual. Let's get to the morning rush. Brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. Check out Brace Press Amazing Inventory at SkyMotorcars.com. Phillies and Braves back at it tonight. 7:15 start time. Taijuan Walker takes on opener Grant Holmes. I really would love for the Phillies to win tonight because I can't take give me an exciting game 3 where you're not just trying to steal one, avoid the sweep, whatever. Just please win today. Please win today. I can't take losing the series like this. I could. It would be easier for me to take a loss to the Dodgers, a series loss to the Dodgers, than would be the Braves right now because the Dodgers playing great baseball. They come into Philly. Of course, they're going to take 2 or 3, but they didn't. The Braves, though, playing not great baseball, blowing games late. I don't want to be the reason that the Braves have all of a sudden picked it up. Again, I'll go to the analogy. The Phillies were a great brick wall to the LA Dodgers. I don't want them to be a red carpet to the Braves when it comes to a red carpet of opportunity for the rest of the season. Philly, the Braves really struggled at the beginning of the year. Then they played the Phillies, and they won 2 or 3. They swept them, whatever. And then they were a better team after that. They really realized their potential after that. I told you going into the series, the records don't matter. So far, game 1, records did not matter. The only record that matters right now are the Braves are 1-0 against the Phillies to this point. As for other teams going on, the 76ers, 3 games left of the season. They're back at it tonight against the Wizards. No Locked On Sixers postcast, barring rain. No Locked On 76ers postcast tonight. And your Philadelphia Flyers are also back at it tonight. They got the New York Rangers. They got that game going on tonight at 7. I think that's a 7:30 puck drop. 7:30 puck drop. Oh, TNT has the game as well. Going on at Madison Square Garden. So that's the way that breaks down. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is the Farzy Show, presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on the Farzy Show YouTube channel. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on the Jacob Media YouTube channel. And make sure, of course, you hit like and subscribe on the Locked On Phillies YouTube channel. Connor Thomas has you covered for your Locked On Phillies daily podcast. And I have you covered for your Locked On Phillies postcast after each and every game. Also, some exciting Eagles news to share with you as far as Eagles coverage goes, that is, with Locked On Sports. We'll talk about that when it's ready to be announced. But some familiar names I'll be working with, providing some fine Eagles content to you fine people in the coming weeks. So I look forward to breaking that news, but that's a little teaser for you. Definitely names I'll be working with that you recognize. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Speaking of names you recognize, Birds 365 is coming up at 8 o'clock today. John McMullen, Xander Krause. Make sure you guys stick around for that. Got a couple of more comments popped in here. Yeah, appreciate all you wonderful people. I'll be back with you guys tonight on Locked On Phillies YouTube channel for your Locked On Phillies postcast.
That's pretty dope.
Thanks. Have a great night, everyone, or great day, everybody. See you guys tonight. Bye-bye.